Hello, everyone, and welcome to our capsule podcast. I am Veincy, and I'm super excited to be joined by Guru Priya today, who is a seasoned HR professional from SRF, someone who has been instrumental in shaping strong people practices and driving engagement strategies that truly matter. Guru Priya, thank you so much for joining us. And before we get into the conversation, could you please share maybe three things with our audience that you want people to know about you as an HR professional?
If I have to talk about three things, that one, my personal mantra in HR is people before processes, but processes to support people. So, people versus process, it's always been a debate. The debate over what comes first is ongoing, but this is my take on it. Number two, I view HR as an enabler, not an administrator. We as HR think about how does this policy or practice really help someone thrive or contribute better. And if it doesn't, we rework it. Then number three, I think HR is a culture enabler. It's a silent catalyst for change. As an HR, I carry a strong sense of responsibility for the culture we shape. Culture isn't slogans on the walls. I think it's in the micro decisions that we take, how we handle challenges, how we show up for each other. And I take that very seriously.
Oh, that's beautiful to know. In fact, I very much agree to this thing that culture is not just something that is on our website. Rather, culture is something we live by every single day, at work. So I think, great, great. I think moving on, there are a few things that I really want to hear your insights on. So starting with team building. What is team building for you? And in your experience, what does it truly mean to build a team? If you can maybe throw some light.
We see team building isn't about one-off activities. It's about building trust, creating a safe space where people collaborate, communicate openly, and the communication should be two-way and grow together. It's in how we resolve conflicts, celebrate small wins, and stay connected even on the toughest days. So I think that's what team building is for me.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not just a tick in the box, rather,
Yeah.
real bonds that we are building every day. So I think absolutely great. Now moving on. So we are living in a world which is heavily focused on metrics and results. So in this case, why do you think investing in people is important, and how do you invest in them?
All right. So I think when you invest in people, you unlock exponential value. Investing in people could be through structured competency based learning and development programs, cross functional exposures, mentoring, reverse mentoring, employee recognition, etc. But more importantly, listening. The key is co creating experiences with people and not just creating experiences for them. We cannot begin to work around all of this in isolation or without listening to them or without taking them in cognizance and most importantly without having stepped into their shoes. So all of this is important to be able to constructively invest in them.
Wow. And you also mentioned, reverse mentoring.
Right.
Maybe could you explain that bit, for our audience? Wow.
Right. So reverse mentoring is when youngsters teach, to state it simple, when youngsters teach the elder generation about anything, maybe them teaching tech to senior people, and similarly, senior people teaching them emotional intelligence, maybe. So that's what reverse mentoring is. Maybe knowledge sharing sessions could help on this front, which involve all generations that work together, and a constructive dialogue, open dialogue between them, that leads to something that adds value.
Right. And any instance that you have experienced firsthand, maybe in your family, maybe at work, that you want to share with us?
Right. So I have, so this used to happen in COVID days when all of us had plenty of time. So we used to have this small 15-minute session as part of our morning meetings, wherein we used to share ideas, where we used to talk about things that we've learned, in these tough times. And also, and that used to be a large group, which included all generations.
Great. I think it was, great to know this, new concept from you. Moving on, I just want to flip the lens a little bit. Let's just assume that, you are a business leader. And, from that perspective, what would be your top three expectations from the HR function? HR as a function, as a whole. Great.
All right. So, number one, I think in this era of technology and AI, never lose human touch, no matter what. Even if robots are going to, take over, even if they're all set to take over, we are still human beings at the end of the day. And we need empathy, real conversations, and a sense of connection and belongingness. So that's the key. And we can, as HR, never lose human touch. And then be forward looking, not reactive. Apart from this, it's about creating an environment where people feel valued, heard, and motivated to succeed. So all of this is, in a broad sense, I would expect from HR as a business leader. All right.
And you also mentioned, human touch. So
Yeah.
I believe, because the world has evolved a lot. 10 years back, what we are doing in terms of the processes versus cut to today. A lot of things have changed, and a lot of things are automated as well. Especially when we talk about HR and the HR function. Where do you see it in the next couple of years, maybe? Do you think everything would be completely automated? If so, then where does this human touch fall into place?
Even though AI is going to like take over a lot, but still human touch will always be required. And as as human beings, ultimately, we cannot say that entire organization would be run by robots, right? So people aspect will always be of utmost importance. And human touch will, when it comes to dealing with people, human touch is the most important aspect. Empathy, belongingness, a sense of connection, all of these things are going to always be there, is what I feel.
Now, moving on, so nowadays, there's a lot of talk around CSR and sustainability. And if you have heard of it, there is a new government norm which asks corporates to incorporate sustainability as one of their vital elements while doing engagements or doing CSR. So what is your take on it?
So, at a broad level, I believe CSR is the soul of a responsible business. It shouldn't be just a checkbox or a regulatory exercise. It should genuinely create value for society. And at SRF, our CSR wing, SRF Foundation, is doing an amazing work in the field of education, skilling, health, and natural resource management. And as part of our initiatives, as a tiny step towards in this direction, we run an employee volunteering program at our headquarters and at other locations also. Pehel, we call it Pehel, which carries a simple yet profound mission to aid employees and their families to contribute voluntarily towards society, be it through imparting knowledge to the uneducated, channeling donations to the underprivileged, or by offering support to those in need.
Wow, lovely. In fact, I have actually, visited your LinkedIn section, SRF's LinkedIn section, and I've seen these real pictures that you're talking about, Pehel,
Yeah.
beautiful initiative where I think you have beautified some walls, and, it's
Yes,
looking very pretty now.
yeah.
I've also seen you also in some of the pictures and some
Oh.
other professionals as well. I'm curious to know more about this, anything else that you want to share with the audience of, what kind of impact that you're, driving. I've also
So I'd like to talk about the kind of work that has happened in this area. Over the past year, our people have conducted skill development sessions, participated in donation drives, crafted toys for children battling cancer, and as you mentioned, beautifully painted and transformed the walls of a school for children with special needs. And have visited a dog shelter housing abandoned dogs. At the heart of it all, as I said, was one unshaken purpose, helping the underprivileged have a better chance at life.
I mean, we can never deny the fact. In fact, when you actually get to meet the end customers, the beneficiaries, and the smile on their faces, as you have just said, I mean, that's invaluable.
Yeah.
It gives us immense pleasure, not just to organize, such a program for our clients, but also for the participants, because you also have been, one of those participants. So, no,
Yeah.
it gives you fulfillment, of the next level. So I
Yeah.
think great, and beautiful initiative. I think that you are driving as of now, and I really wish you all the best. I really hope that you get to drive many more such engagements in the future. There are a lot of assumptions around what HR is or it isn't. What's that one myth that you'd like to burst right now about
Okay.
HR?
People feel that HR is supposed to be a people's person always and universally liked. Honestly, that's not the job. Some of the toughest, most meaningful calls HR makes are not the popular ones. It's not about being liked, it's about being fair, righteous, courageous, and consistent. That's what real HR is, I think. At times, you just cannot please people. You still have to show up, hold space, and take calls that don't win hearts but do the right thing. So I think that's one myth that I'd like to burst about HR, that you always have to be that chatty, bubbly, everyone's favorite uh, extrovert person.
Guru Priya, talking about culture again. So I think culture is a very important, aspect when it comes to organizations' growth. So how important is the role of culture in scaling an organization that you feel, and how can it be nurtured?
Quincy, I think culture is your foundation. Culture is the invisible thread that binds everything together. It guides decisions when you're not in the room. When you scale, you can't supervise everything, every small thing. Culture becomes your default operating system at that time. That's why it's so critical. Culture is the invisible thread, as I said, it binds everything together, even when teams grow exponentially. And I believe that culture is driven from top. Your leadership has to be on board with what you want to, you know, advocate for as culture for the organization.
Great. That's really wonderful to know. And now I think, before we wrap up this session, there's one more thing that, I want to know from you. What are those top three global skills that you think are a must have across any field today? That you want to send in this message to our audience? What would that be?
I think considering ups and downs that we've seen, be it COVID days, be it socioeconomic ups and downs. I think agility, number one, the ability to unlearn and relearn, and adaptability. Then, number two, I would say digital dexterity, not just using tech, but leveraging it meaningfully. And number three, I would say critical thinking, because information is plenty all around, everywhere. But how you process it towards making it meaningful is the key.
Right, and this coming from an HR professional like you, I think a lot of people are going to edit their resumes, right after this, podcast is live. So I think great, and thank you so very much, Guru Priya, to take out time for this, session, and for coming here. It was a pleasure hosting you. Any closing lines that you wanna share before we wrap this up?
I think in the end, I'd like to say that HR professionals are the change makers. They are the change drivers. They're not just there to carry out operational activities. They should act as strategic partners and should become catalysts for change.
And with this, that's a wrap for today. A huge thank you once again, Guru Priya, for coming on this and sharing your lovely insights with us. And if you found this conversation valuable, don't forget to follow us and share it with someone who is passionate about people and culture. I'm Veincy from ThoughtBulb, signing off.